Hello everyone, welcome to finally a break from part 7 in my series. So this is going to be part 8. There's a high chance or high probability it's going to be split into 8A, B, C and so on. No, anyway, but it's I guess finally something that's more serious for my project. So what are we doing today? Let's look at that now. So, as the title says down here, it's broken TCP. So TCP is something I'm going to be looking at. And what for? It's going to be my methodology for screen capture and gamepad related detection. And so there's multiple reasons. And we need a way of transferring the RAM variables. We've spent so many episodes and time reverse engineering from Gran Turismo. So let's look into that. So, as I said, we're revisiting screen capture, gamepad related inputs, and therefore using this method also to transfer variable data. So, my assumption here is that for training the agent or utilizing the agent would be nice. We have one way to pipe data in and out of the Python environment, and ideally we want any data we pass back and forth to be synchronized. So screen captures, game variables, and gamepad related inputs or state readings. We'd want the screen capture to be refreshed at the rate of the frame rate of the display from the emulator. So that would mean 50 frames per second in PAL and 60 frames per second in NTSC. Even if two of those frames might be the same, I'm not sure, because many games run at half rate. And last but not least, I don't want to keep searching for where on my monitor is the emulator display output, since that's a manual process. Each time we might be off by a couple of pixels and so on. So yeah, we'll revisit what we did last time briefly on PowerPoint. We'll quickly look at virtual gamepad just to close that topic off. And I'll show you how I set up a basic TCP, and maybe we'll try to get to 4 and 5, and maybe a 6 should be, or maybe this will be the 4, pass variable or game variable data. Good. Yeah, actually also the gamepad, but the gamepad is pretty easy. So let's go into it. So first, to quickly close off the virtual gamepad. So this is not so different from what we did before. I just instantiate a virtual DualShock gamepad. What is new here is what I've altered, and why I think it didn't work before is I was pressing cross, updating it, then releasing it, updating it, and then waiting with the sleep. At least that's what I think I recall doing. But I think it's important to keep it pressed for sufficient time for one game loop in the emulator to detect that the button is in a press state. So if we look at Redux, so when emulation is running, you can see it's rendering each frame at 20 milliseconds for 50 frames per second. So we're on a PAL game, so it makes sense. And so if you think about it, if we pressed X and released it in less than, let's say, 10 milliseconds, because I'm not sure if the game engine is running at twice the speed, so in half the time, but definitely the screen is rendering at each updated screen is being displayed every 20 milliseconds. So funky bug at the moment. Anyway, so if we go here, instantiate the controller. So now the controller should be detectable in Redux. So we go to controls, there it is, there's a PS4 controller. This is my physical controller, and the PS4 is the virtual one. And then if we run this second half part of the script. After 5 seconds, we should see the accelerator being blipped, and you can see, we can see that. If you can, I'll turn on the sound so you can hear it too. Just go back here. Okay, it's actually not working. So this is something I think is Redux related, because it happens also with my normal controller when I load a state. I think it's, wait a minute, I think it loads the state including what controller was being used. Does that make sense? Let's check that out. So if I go controls, oh man, this is too fast. Let's go to the Supra. Trial, no, silly controls. Change that to this. Need to keep that on the top. No, so it doesn't work. So I'm just going to close Redux, reload it, and I think it will work the second time. I don't know. It's something I've observed happening. There you go. I'm pressing nothing. My hands are here on the cam. It's automatically loaded. And you can see the rev counter. So it's trying to raise it. Maybe this is too short. So let's make this 300. And hopefully you can hear that. It's accelerating. So unfortunately, since this is the modded Supra, it's hard to ramp up RPM. So let's start it again so that we build the RPM from the idle start. So this is still too much off throttle, so let's go there. Anyway, get them. Let's do this now. I suppose a better way to have proven this would have been to use the maybe another way to look at it. Not really. The RPM is very this method. But we'll so I'm going to stop that. So TCP. Let's get into TCP. So I've set up, actually let's stop this. So I've set up a very silly way of implementing a TCP server, or let's say a very minimalistic, not really recommendable for anything useful, but we're using sockets in capturing streams. It's working locally. It listens for one incoming connection. It waits for that connection. Then once it has a connection, it tries to receive data. It receives 10 pieces. Let's see. I don't even know what's that. It's bytes. Okay, so it's waiting for 10 bytes, and then it will print it. And if it has never received this data, it will break. I'm not even sure if it will ever reach this break. Yeah, it will. It will go back to waiting for a connection, I think. Yeah. So, and in the Lua environment in Redux, I have a very simple checkbox. When the checkbox state is changed and it's checked on, it will start a client connected to the server, which we will establish in the Python environment. In fact, let's stop it because it's already running. Don't know if that stopped it, but anyway. Yeah, it will If the checkbox has changed to unchecked, it will close the connection. And while it's checked, it will write something. So actually this is something I was playing around with it earlier. Let's use the known working version of this. So let's read the script. So here's the checkbox. Here's the server. Let's run the server. And here it will say waiting for a connection. Now, how can I do this? So, we want yes connected. So, click start. And it crashed. Oh, we messed up. Yes, we did, but whatever. Let's close Redux and load it again. And it's messed up my beautiful layout. So, yeah, server, start the client. Okay, it's connected. So right now it's printing the state of the X button. So to prove that's the case, I'm gonna press X. Okay, before you guys laugh at me, let's make sure we got, there you go. So this gamepad is selected. Now press X, it's true. Let go, it's false. X, it's true. Go, it's false. This is working. So we're detecting the state of the gamepad in Redux and then sending that state over TCP. Yeah. Let's stop that. Where did I put it? Here it is. So next we should try to transfer the screen data. And another thing we have to fix is to not keep sending in 10 byte size. We should pack the data with a header. And let's say the header is of fixed size, I don't know, 10 bytes. And those 10 bytes will first inform how big is the next batch of data coming. So I think I know how to do this in Python. I don't know how to do it in Lua, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge, and probably I'll pause the video here and there to debug, read up, and figure it out. Let's see. So it's a while later. I haven't understood how the screenshot function works, so as a matter of fact, the pcsx.gpu.take screenshot gives me an error that like I'm doing something evil to access pcsx.gpu. But anyway, so I semi-got the controller working bidirectionally right now. It's very primitive and very buggy, but anyway, let me show you what I'm doing. So on the server side, I'm sending this number 1, encoding it into little endian bytes. I don't know if that's the right way. And I send this data. And in Lua, it's expecting an unsigned 8-bit piece of data. If that data is equal to 1, it should set the cross button to be on. And if it gets value 2, it should release it. Or at least I think it should. So let's test this. So let's start the server. It's waiting for connection. Gonna connect, and it's getting 1s because 1s is what it should get. So, and it's pressing the accelerator. Now, if I disconnect the client, it keeps pressing the accelerator. So this is the bizarre part. Now, oh, because when I press start client, this loop is running. So I press start client now. It remains in this loop, I think. And then if I stop the server, okay, so it's changed to 2, but clearly there's some buffer somewhere, right? Because that was a long time. Let's test that hypothesis again. So we'll start the server, connect, searcher's on, stop the server. And it's still accelerating, but okay, and now it's stopped. It's changed to 2. So we've made semi-progress, but it's not totally working as expected yet. But yeah, I mean, not so bad for what's effectively 20 minutes of work. And you're as inexperienced as I am. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. It wasn't that useful, but it's very light progress. Hopefully some of you can leave me comments or get in contact with me to tell me what I'm doing wrong and how to overcome the issues I'm facing. And hopefully you'll like, subscribe, and watch the next episode. So thank you very much, guys. See you next time.